Greetings and welcome into I think it's called the Sports Shuffle or something like that. It's been a little bit. I am, of course, if you remember, Flying Ryan Gilchrist along with.
I don't think it's the Snot Shuffle, Tampa Motormouth Joel Verlin.
No, the Snot Shuffle would that would not be a fun one. Let's not do a Snot Shuffle.
Yeah,
Although there
let's
have been times we've done this when I've been sick and it's been the Snot Shuffle, and that's not fun either.
so let's snot and say we did, right? Okay, yeah.
Yes. Anywho, since that's what we opened with, everybody. Yeah, we are less than 10 days from the first football game of the 2025-26 NFL season. Sadly, that is still
countdown.
preseason.
You always tend to know that when they start to talk about the Hall of Fame game, that means there's hope in them thar hills.
Yep. July 31st is the Hall of Fame game. Who's in it? I don't care. I think the Lions are one of the teams. I don't know who the other one is.
Two teams. I will definitely take a guess at two teams in the NFL, definitely.
Yes, I know the Lions are one of them. But who else is it? The Detroit Lions and the Los Angeles Chargers, two of the most historically choke artist teams that have ever existed. Fantastic.
One of the things I have to just guess two stories. One, I know it's going to be one of the headlines, but Mayonnaise Man is taking himself out of the 2025 season. As Will Levis, of course, has decided to have shoulder surgery, and he's done. And you got to believe that there are millions of, or at least one or two Tennessee Titan fans out there who have to be a little bit happy that they won't have to put up with this play behind center because it was so bad, Flying. It was historically, he became his own meme.
Yeah, I don't think he was ever going to get a snap unless Cam Ward got injured, but now not even that is going to happen as the somehow got to deal with a mayonnaise company. Will Levis will not play in 2025-26 due to injury, not incompetence.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see in 2026 where everybody slates him as a fantasy rankings.
He will be unemployed, so probably not very high.
And another story that I definitely want to touch on, because I think this will be definitely in your bailiwick, as you are the jersey connoisseur, the uniform expert. I think.
I know where this is going.
Okay, you know where I'm going. As the Pittsburgh Steelers are going with the ultimate. How about this, Flying? The ultimate throwback, about as far back as you can get. They are going to have, and these are pretty. You've seen the uniforms, haven't you?
I have.
These are some of the most horrid uniforms I think we have ever seen for a throwback that you're just going, what the bleep are they wearing? And I don't know. It's sort of like how the Bucks are trying to channel the throwback because they're going to do the 1976 throwback. I'm not sure that's a good idea. You don't want to channel that mojo, and I. And the Pittsburgh Steelers, but at least they had a better looking uniform than the Pittsburgh Steelers one currently, because you sort of go into the Wayback Machine and you're like, well, okay, well, they're channeling the mojo of this uniform from this team is the 1933 Pittsburgh Pirates. Pittsburgh Pirates. And check this. I decided, I'm like, well, with how the Pittsburgh Steelers have been doing this constant 9-8 thing, and Tomlin hasn't gone under 500. I'm sure you might have heard that a time or two.
Yeah, once or twice maybe.
So what my question was, did the Pittsburgh Pirates back in their day do any better than the Pittsburgh Steelers of modern day football? And back in the day, they had only apparently two divisions, and it was so crazy. With some of these names like the Portsmouth Spartans, the team that has vanished, the Brooklyn Dodgers, and I'm like, aren't they a baseball team, or weren't they in back in the day? Once you even had the Boston Redskins were
Yep.
one of the teams. I mean, check that, the Boston flipping Redskins. It's the name that is definitely everyone's kind of going crazy about now. That all of a sudden they changed the Commanders, and now people are trying to maybe get them to change back to the Redskins. I mean, Redskins definitely a better name than the Commanders. I'm sorry, but
Yeah.
anywho, and the question was, did the Pittsburgh Pirates do any better than the Pittsburgh Steelers? And that would be no. They finished dead last in their division, flying. And the Pittsburgh Steelers might want to check the historical deal here because they're, of course, wearing the unis week 8 against the Green Bay Packers. And you look in that way back machine, and yeah, the Green Bay Packers apparently beat the Pittsburgh Pirates something like 42 zilch. I don't know that they want to challenge and channel that mojo from back in 1933.
See, at first, I thought the Steelers did something really, really cool. And they created these alternates after the Gotham Rogues from Batman The Dark Knight Rises. And then I looked at those jerseys and went, oh, those are way better than what the Pittsburgh Steelers did. Now, for any of you who forgot what the Pittsburgh Steelers have done with terrible jerseys, I can go get it. I got one 10 feet away, the Bumblebee jersey. And now they come out with this abomination. If you haven't seen it, bleach for your eyes will be required afterwards. The numbers on the front and the back are different numbers. They have this weird insignia thing going down the front that looks just dumb. The helmet, I'll give the helmet some credit, but it's attached to a turd, so it's awful.
If you remember some of baseball's abominations with some of those City Connect jerseys,
at least those are like creative. Like, I will say this. It is the worst NFL jersey I've ever seen. And we gave the Giants a lot of crap for their 100th anniversary one. They're a little a little fugly, but they're not this bad. Like the Giants are like, oh, it's red, blue. They got this little tan. It's a little awkward, but it's all right. It looked decent on the field. It looked decent in the pictures. These you look at and go, oh dear God, no. You don't even. It says something when your tight end, not the one you just traded for, mind you, because of Jonnu Smith going to Pittsburgh, but Pat Freiermuth is your display model because nobody with clout wanted to display this jersey on their body outside of the one game they're going to wear them.
Speaking of tight ends, how about your new tight end might be on the PUP list already?
That does not surprise me. He's old. He's retired, and he shouldn't have come back. But that's fine. We don't usually use a tight end anyways. Although we did last year.
Jonnu Smith will be going somewhere else to steal end zone swipes.
Yeah, he's going to wear that god-awful jersey in Pittsburgh with Jalen Ramsey. Yeah, that jersey is a travesty. It's a sham. It's a mockery. It's a Travis sham mockery, really. And we should not have to see crap like that online. There should be sensors in place that stop us from seeing that kind of garbage, but nope. Right in the eyeballs.
I was kind of wondering. I had a feeling that that would be your reaction because I saw that my first little reaction when I saw it was, what the was that?
Now I like a stupid looking jersey sometimes, but that one goes too far.
And I did do the cable version of cutting the word out, but wow.
And the fun part is that Aaron Rodgers has to play against his former team, the team he led to one Super Bowl, the team he built a Hall of Fame career in, looking like a moronic bumblebee.
I just wonder.
Can't even get the striping right.
I wonder how close to the historic score from 1933, the Sunday night game, because we know maybe not as much.
Oh, it's a Sunday nighter. We all have to watch this crap. Damn it.
I mean, we not as much as you have those Thursday night games that you never know how they're going to go. That usually you have a Thursday night game that tends to go the exact reverse of what you think is going to go. Sometimes that can be Sunday night games too, depending.
Oh, happy day. Did you say that is a Sunday night game, isn't it? Oh, that's just cruel and unusual punishment.
As we will be probably trying to figure out if we're going to be celebrating that week, commiserating that week, or calculating what we need to have happen on Monday night.
Wait, hold on. This is a home game. I thought it was a away game. I'm seeing it going Pittsburgh Steelers versus Green Bay like it was in Green Bay. No, it's actually. I was gonna say if they're gonna wear gold into Green Bay, where the Packers are gonna wear green, that's kind of playing into their hands, I think. But no, we all will have to watch this unless it gets flexed out. But I think it's too early to get flexed out on October
So
20th.
it's at Heinz Field because it's Heinz Field. It's not that new name. It will always be
Acrisure, Heinz,
It's
yeah,
Heinz. It's Heinz freaking Field. Sorry.
the big ketchup bottle. But yeah, that jersey just, some fans burn the jersey after the game because it's such a bad game. Just burn the jersey now because it's just a bad jersey.
I wonder how much people are going to actually pay for those god awful abominations.
Well, I can tell you when I go online and let's see how much they are because I'm guessing they're at least $100. Oh my God, they're even. All right, so if you haven't seen them, I'm gonna blind somebody, and I apologize for nothing.
Flashbang incoming.
Yeah, this is it looks like a soccer jersey. It just does, and yeah. Hold on to your butts, kids. We're gonna. Yep, that's it. That's what it looks like.
Wait.
First of all, let's just talk. There's a random Y. I don't know why there's a Y in here. It shouldn't be. The number on the front being white, the number on the back being black. Just make them both white with a nice black outline so it stands out, or make the gold, not the main color. But yeah, $129. But
is that all?
You can get the okay. Look at this one? Metcalf in the white, 103. In the black, in the white, 103. In the god awful yellow, 130. Get out of here with that. Go get a white one. Go get a black one. I don't care. Do not buy these jerseys. Oh dear Lord. And these are the cheap ones. I'm sure the authentic ones are going to be closer to 300. But anyways, that's the worst jersey ever made. And compared to the normal jerseys, it's Jesus. That's one of those if you ever see one in a Goodwill for $5, you'd probably be like, that's still a ripoff. Anywho, I could rip on that jersey for days. So Joel, what else you got for us?
Well, I had a feeling that, and you might want to get yourself back into the screen here because you're off into the never world here.
Oh, that too. Yeah, I'm tiny down there. There we go. Hold on. Wait. That one. Ha! It's been a minute. I think we've done one show since last September.
Yeah, because it's like I said, you're remembering. Okay, how do we do this? Let's see. We microphones speak. We're supposed to say creative and funny things. Maybe some sportsy. But out of these two players, who do you think will get their contract finished up quicker? Do you think it's going to be Micah Parsons with Jerry, or Trey Hendrickson with the ever-loving Bungles? And I'm saying that because it seems to be the same thing every year with some contract for some player.
It'll be Micah Parsons. He deserves more money than Hendrickson does, even though Hendrickson is great. And Cincinnati is pissing off both their star defensive end, which is the only good defensive player on the team, and their first-round rookie draft pick.
Why does Cincinnati even need a defense that are going to score 70 every week, right?
I mean, if they don't, they're going to lose a lot of games. That's why Joe Burrow's a sneaky undervalue pick if he falls in drafts, but he's going super, super early in most of them. He went in our best ball that I'm running right now in number 5 overall in a super flex, and that just seems crazy, even in a super flex. But yeah, I'm going to say Parsons. I don't know if Hendrickson really gets one done. I think he almost gets traded.
And what do you make of that insane New York Giants quarterback locker room? Who the bleep starts?
Russell Wilson starts. He will play 4 to 6 weeks if he is okay or worse. If they end up coming out 3-3 or better, I think he holds the job until they really fall apart and fall out of it. I don't see the Giants being a great team either way, but outside of that division, I don't know the schedule in full, but I could see them having a better record than last year
Dart,
by a
Dart,
good amount.
Dart has to be the coolest name, though. Sorry, it does.
For a quarterback, yeah. But for the Giants, let's go through their schedule real quick just to see. They start against the Commanders, then the Cowboys, then the Chiefs. That's not a great start. Um, then Chargers. They should beat the Saints. So the Eagles, the Broncos, Eagles, Niners, Bears. Let's just say Jackson Dart hopefully doesn't play for this team this year because honestly, looking at the schedule, a good season might be 4 wins. The Raiders, which is the last week of the season. The Patriots, who is a trendy pick to surprise this year for some reason. Like I've seen, I'll get into my final thought, but I've seen the Patriots as like playoff caliber upside sleeper
Playoffs?
teams. Yeah. They play them on the first day of December. The Bears can just blow any game. And then, yeah, that one against the Saints is probably their only surefire one. But every other game looks like a probable loss.
Only the Bears can have their quarterback. I'm making up a new position. Head coach get absolutely fired because they forget to do a timeout.
Amongst other things. Oh, God.
Yeah, because that was like the end of a whole series of unfortunate games, not events, unfortunate games. That was just like every week was, okay, how are the Bears going to yank it away from themselves this week?
Do you think the Bears finish above 3.5 in the division? Basically, are they not last? Lions, Packers, Vikings, and Bears. Do they not? Do you see a scenario outside of the entire injury hell of the division hitting every other team that they don't finish last?
The only thing that would be the issue with that division is if you have, for some reason, the Bears playing above where they played last year, which that's pretty easy to do. And you have the Vikings, which you look at that, which they're with how many close shaves they flipping had last year, and all of a sudden, if all of those close shaves revert and click the other way, all of a sudden you have the Vikings, especially because kind of have some question about their quarterbacking.
I want to remind
year?
you before you go too far there that the Minnesota Vikings last year were 14-3, and the quarterback was Sam Darnold.
Yeah, I know, and I'm still going to go where I'm going to go. That they've got to have a tougher schedule this year. A little bit more questioning with the quarterbacking, and still, yes. How can they possibly keep up what they did last year, especially when they ran into the playoffs like they did? That has to stick around with that team, and players are going to remember that. The team's going to remember that, and I think they're due to fall, and I think the Bears are not going to be last this year.
How many games behind third place, without looking it up, do you remember the Bears being?
It was pretty bad. I don't remember the exact number, but I remember it was pretty bad.
They were 6 games behind the Packers. The Bears were 5-12, beat the Packers in a game where they benched their starters, rested their starters. The Packers were 11-6. The Vikings were 14-3.
I just think the Vikings played way, way, way out of their league last year, and I think they're due for a huge drop that I don't think anybody's going to see coming. But I think they're headed for a drop, and I think the Bears can just sort of do a little leapfrog. Now, it's not going to be anything spectacularly like, holy crap, they're going to win the division, but it's going to be they're not going to suck as bad as they did last year.
The Bears still suck. They've done a lot of things to make the team better, but they still suck. And I don't think that division's coming back far enough. I think McCarthy's going to be good enough. I think, barring extreme amounts of injury all over the place, they will be fine. I don't think they're losing 9 games to the Bears in the overall standings one year to the next, even if that one score game differential goes against them heavily. That's not going to be 9 games. I just can't see the Bears making that leap because Caleb Williams is by far, well, let's say we don't know JJ McCarthy, but behind the other two, he is by far the worst quarterback in the division that we know about at this point. And I can make the case that JJ McCarthy has more upside.
If the Vikings all of a sudden start out 3-1 or 4-0, I'm wrong. I'm completely just stick a fork in that prediction. But what's the Viking schedule?
I mean, it's going to be brutal. That whole division has to play each other, so the whole division has a very, very hard schedule. Let me pull theirs up because they are going to have to win a lot of tough games. Obviously, you play the Packers, Bears, and Lions twice during the season.
Oof.
Be nice to find one that's not a Ticketmaster site. There we go.
When the ad smacks you right in the eye, it says the
Week 1, they play the Chicago Bears. So you might have an answer pretty quick. Then they got the Falcons, the Bengals, the Steelers, the Browns, Eagles, Chargers, Lions, Ravens.
If they're not 4-0 after that.
Well, I think the Falcons are going to take a big step forward. I believe Michael Penix is better than
Arthur
Caleb
Smith
Williams.
is not there anymore.
This was a team that had a couple things break the other way and maybe going to Penix earlier, it could have still been a playoff team. The Bengals, it's going to be an absolute shootout. Can McCarthy put up 30 or more?
How sexy do you think Bijan is going to be in fantasy?
In the best ball draft, I was just looking at the Superflex. I was considering him over Jaden Daniels before. I took Jaden Daniels instead, but he was with Chase Allen and Lamar Jackson off the board. He was the one in consideration with Jaden Daniels. So I think he's going to be great. I think the Falcons are going to take. I think the Falcons are a playoff team this year. I don't think the Panthers take that big of a step. The Saints might be the worst team we've seen in about 10 years.
They're the Aints.
If the Saints don't get the first overall pick, I would be surprised.
Do the Bucs repeat yet again as division winner?
No.
So
I think the Falcons take the division. I think it's very, very close again.
So you think the Godwin injury is going to affect him more than everybody thinks it's going to?
It depends on how he comes back. We saw him come back a little slow. Last time he got hurt, it took about a year and a half to get back into the correct swing of things for him. It could be a problem. This team is overachieved. They've lost their offensive coordinator once again, who's in Duval. I don't like the Ibuka pick. I think Ibuka is a good wide receiver, but it doesn't go at a position you really needed right now. Yes, Mike Evans getting old. Yes, Chris Godwin's injured.
So you think that the Bucs pulled the trigger too soon on trying to draft their wide receiver of the future to replace 1-3?
I do. I think they have enough needs on the defensive side of the ball. They should have went that way. Their defense is not going to be as good as they need. And I think the Falcons, with that double dip in the first round for the pass rusher, they've done some work on their defense.
I don't finally got a pass rusher.
Got a few, but you still have Bijan. You still have Drake London. Kyle Pitts is. I know the fantasy community says Kyle Pitts is hot garbage, but on the football field, he's fine for a tight end. Darnell Mooney.
Yeah, the talk is more about how that Bijan is going to be definitely top 10 pick. Even there's a huge bunch of talk about Drake London being more of an upside than a downside this year.
Yeah, Drake London is being drafted on the higher end of his possibilities. I think he is. Again, I've got a board up. I can figure it out real quick. On Sleeper, if we show the drafted, I'll have to do that. He is right now the wide receiver 9 off the board with an ADP of
where's Godwin going?
Let me put it to you this way. We're in the 7th round of this best ball draft. Godwin is still available.
Oof.
Drake London, again, super flex. So quarterbacks go earlier. There were 4 of the first 5 picks for quarterbacks. London went 301. He went near his ADP anyways. Chris Godwin is...
What about Jalen McMillan for the Bucks?
No, he's not draftable. He
Ooh.
might not be drafted in best ball.
Mm.
In best ball, you shouldn't be drafting guys that are projected to be the wide receiver 4 on the team. Evans, Godwin, Igbuka, and then McMillan. Godwin is currently ADP of 95.2.
Oof.
And where did Evans go? I know Evans went. Evans went 312.
Okay,
So I think that's a little high for Evans, maybe about a half round to a full round, but
yeah, well,
I don't hate it.
Well, because Godwin, you definitely have the injury question, and with Evans, he can actually get you insane numbers, but you always have like that hammy that knocked him out for a couple of games last year. Definitely hurt your squad for a little
Yeah.
while.
Yeah, that wasn't fun for me when I had him. But yeah, there's
Any is Kate Otten getting any love?
he's a depth receiver. He's really not, or a depth tight end. He's really not going to
And
be.
Bucky definitely has to be up.
Oh,
There.
Bucky, I took in the 2nd round. I took
He-
him at 209.
He's like with that claw machine. Like, there's Bucky, yoink.
I'll say
take
this:
him.
we are doing a fantasy footballer style keeper league, and we did a lottery. You got we auto drafted everybody's team. You got to pick 3 people out of that team, and one of them came back to you as a franchise player. My options were Amarian Hampton, Bucky Irving, and Bijan Robinson. And I only really was upset if I got Hampton because he's going to take a minute to come around. I end up getting Bijan, and I'm hoping I can double up and get Bucky at the end of the 1st round because I'm picking 12th because my keeper was the best available.
So does that mean Rashad White is like the I don't want to play with you anymore meme now?
Pretty much. He will go in drafts, but he is down the list. There he is. He is going between backup running back Rico Dowdle in Carolina and backup running back Tank
Oof.
Bisbee in Jacksonville. His ADP is
Ow.
119.1. Javonte
How the
Williams
mighty
is
have
going above
fallen.
him. It's not great. But that's the thing. When you get replaced, you're going to obviously fall down the draft rankings. Not surprised. All right, Joe. What else we got here?
And of course, Joe, does that mean for any reason you come around, Saquon Barkley is there? Do you not draft him, or do you just okay, whatever comes, whatever what may, you're drafting him?
It depends on the league, depends on your scoring settings, and it depends on if you believe that an overworked 29-year-old running back can repeat what he did last year. If it's me, Saquon's going in the top 3 in most drafts. But assuming he falls to pick 5, pick 6, if you give me Bijan, Jahmyr Gibbs, I'm taking those 2 over Barkley. Barkley, yes, could go for another 2,000-yard season, but most 2,000-yard seasons are not followed up by another 2,000-yard season. They don't pass the ball to the running back, so if you have any point per reception, you get a guy like Gibbs, a guy like Bijan that catches a lot of ball, even a guy like Devon Achane, whose passing volume is what makes him a good fantasy asset. You can make the argument for a lot of guys. I'd rather go with a guy like Bijan, who's on the younger side of things, still ascending, versus a Saquon Barkley, who after let's get the exact touch total here. He had, where are you? My full. He had 345 rushing attempts and 43 targets with 33 receptions. So 378 touches in the regular season only. Not to mention four, I think it was 4 playoff games. 3 playoff games. Were they the 1 seed? Can't remember. So yeah, he was dramatically overworked, and he is 28. He'll be 29, I think, by the time the season starts.
Would you rather have Tyreek Hill or Travis Kelce?
Oh, I think you'd rather have Tyreek Hill. I mean, Tyreek Hill is going several rounds above him. He's still, I think, a third rounder right now. Let me see if I can find him. Tyreek, yeah, 26.8 is the ADP on him. Travis Kelce is down in the 71.3 range. Now, if you're going to say bringing in draft capital, maybe you're better off taking somebody else at Tyreek and then getting a Travis Hunter kind of type around where Kelce's going. Let's see. What's around Tyreek Hill? Tyreek Hill is going between Lamar Jackson and T. Higgins. Jonathan Taylor's right there. Jaden Daniels right there. Josh Jacobs right there. I think I'd rather those running backs over him because he did have a bad year. Kyron Williams not far behind him. Chase Brown with the Bengals is going to have a ton of work. And then down around where Travis Kelce is, you've got Jerry Jeudy, Tet McMillan, RJ Harvey, who's got a lot of buzz as a rookie, Tyrone Tracy, who might be the starter for the Giants. I think he is. Travis Hunter, if he's the wide receiver for Jacksonville more than a defensive back, that'll be a good thing. You also have Mark Andrews going at pick 79. So there's some value at tight end a little later this year. I don't think it's a good play to go after Brock Bowers at pick 13, or he's averaging 13.7. Trey McBride, 21.4. I just think you're giving up too much because you can go get Kelce in the 7th, and then you're giving up on Drake London to take Brock Bowers in a lot of situations. You're giving up Devon Achane. You might be giving up Brian Thomas, Derrick Henry, Nico Collins, depending on how you draft Ashton Genty. Like, there's enough guys, Bucky Irving, that I think I'd rather have than a great tight end. I feels like every team that's ever been like, I drafted a great tight end does terrible unless they just get insanely lucky late in drafts or off the waiver wire.
All right, with how bad the Saints that we think are going to absolutely stink up the season, just because it's looking that way, what do you do about Olave and Alvin Kamara?
Ignore them. We've seen the Saints last year. The reason I lost a league is because the Packers could bench Josh Jacobs in the early part of the third quarter, and he needed about 16 yards to get me a win. That was when Derek Carr was not on the field. That was with Spencer Rattler. He was terrible. Tyler Shuck, as far as I know, has not signed yet, which means he's also not going to be in trading camp. And best case scenario, Tyler Shuck is serviceable. If you get Spencer Rattler or anybody else in the Saints quarterback room, they're going to be abysmal. Kamara could be a good value if he goes at the right point of draft. But right now, he's going in the middle of, in a 12-team league, the back end of the 4th round at pick 45.4. That's a lot for a guy who might be on one of the worst teams we've seen in a long time. Mixon's right there. Ken Walker's right there. James Cook, who had 16 touchdowns. Chuba Hubbard, who was fantastic last year. That's just looking at the running backs. Like, there is so much that you can do instead of Alvin Kamara that I think is more worth it. I'd rather take a chance on DK Metcalf and those God-awful Steelers jerseys. I'd rather take a chance if you can get him DJ Moore, Rashee Rice, the two wide receivers a little earlier. Rashee Rice, of course, going to face some punishment from the NFL with his go to jail on your own time 30-day sentence.
The 30 days jail time that he can do anytime, and we'll have to see what the commission does with spinning the wheel of justice.
He'll probably get 4 games or so, but it's one of those things like, wait, you can go to, you have a 5-year window to decide when it works for you to go to jail for 30 days? Yeah, that seems fair.
You know,
Yeah. Yeah, let's just do that.
you can tell. And
Yeah, it
NFL is in
doesn't
its whole different own world.
yeah, it's not great. And there goes Joel. Hey, we got 35 minutes without him dropping. But yeah, football is finally back. Let's wait for Joel to get back. He'll be back in a second. Terry McLaurin did not report to camp, so that's one of the bigger stories that's going on actively. The Jets doubled up at a couple signings, and Joel is coming back in 3, 2, 1. 35 minutes. It took
Hey,
35
that's
minutes.
is that a new sports shuffle record?
It's not quite. We've had full shows where he didn't drop, but it's still
Huh?
there.
Yeah, as I was saying, it's called. Yeah, you need to have like the DraftKings or when will Joel drop prop bet.
Yeah, I mentioned McLaurin not responding or not attending camp so far. Did not report. He's not happy with his contract. I don't blame him. He was fantastic last year. He's been a loyal soldier for that terrible football team for a number of years. They finally get good. He was a huge part of it with the rookie quarterback, best quarterback he's
Yeah,
had.
yeah.
He wants to capitalize. I don't blame him.
My Bucks. You can't really fault the Bucks considering how well they played against the Commanders in that game. That was probably one of the best playoff games I think in a long time. And with how good the Commanders were, Bucks deserve some more credit for that game, even though they lost in a heartbreak because that was just a. Uh,
Yeah, Commanders going to the NFC Championship game,
that
which was
close to the Super Bowl. That close.
yeah.
And do you think how quickly things can turn around with the Eagles are going to be the one that everyone will hope not do the three-peat?
I mean, they still have to do it this year, but they are going to be a heavy, heavy favorite, and we're taking all the same guys. They're ahead of on their contracts for the most part, so yeah, it's probably gonna be likely that they're going to
Especially with
be
the
in
tush
the mix.
push and being back.
Yeah, not banned, not yet at least. Oh,
So do you want to go into final thoughts?
yeah. Let's go into final thoughts. We'll start with yours.
My final thought is definitely have to do a hat tip to the Bolts, the Tampa Bay Lightning, as recently definitely hockey and baseball both have. If you are aware of the whole Bally debacle, got debacled with the whole people just not happy with the streaming service, the constant deal of every time when you want to watch a game, and what do you mean it's blacked out and it's not even a national game with all that crap that's in some other words that I could say, but I'll be good and I won't. But the Bolts have definitely done something cool, making regular season games available to the public over the air. All you need is antenna, find the channel, get the time, plop your butt down on the seat, and you can watch them when lightning strikes hockey. So definite props to the Bolts, especially in this era of how many streaming flipping services do you possibly need that's out there, and everything is this plus and that plus and oh, and you see a show or something you like, and oh, I'm sorry, you can't access that unless you go plus or premium, and here come the Bolts. Just hey, it's over the air. You can just watch it for free. So huge props to the Tampa Bay Lightning for doing that this year. Good job, guys.
Yeah, they're catching up. The Panthers started that last year, being back in Charlotte County. I'm officially back in South Florida television range, so I get Panthers, I get Dolphins, Marlins, which no one cares about. But I do know
Are
over
they
the
are they
antenna.
still a team?
Yes, they somehow are. But the Panthers had their games over antenna last year. If you so chose to do that, the two-time back-to-back Stanley, mentioning three peats, back-to-back Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers have been doing that. So good to see that the Bolts are getting on that bandwagon as well. I think that's good for
You,
the
you,
game.
you
And it's good
mentioned you
for fans.
mentioned the Marlins. If I can briefly just interject that, I'll never forget because it was one of the out of the park games, and when you realize how bad a franchise the Marlins are, you bring up and the game comes up with what your expectations are. And literally, it was something like, I remember when a game causes you to crack up laughing, it was something literally like, just try not to suck too bad. And that was literally the expectations for the team for that season, for that year.
All right, my final thought is it's going to be a little rant. I don't understand how people are as down on the Dolphins as they are this year. Now, Joel, I don't know about you, but you're starting to see all these projections come out on who wins the division. And I'm not at all going to say I expect anything other than the Buffalo Bills to win the AFC East. That, to me, is about as good of a lock of a bet as you can make. I'm not making that argument. But I am seeing a lot of projections put the Dolphins fourth in the division, behind the Jets, behind the Patriots, who had a combined, I think, 9 wins last year, if that. It might not even been that many. Actually, now I got to get that information as well. 5 wins. The Jets were 5-12. The Patriots were 4-13. The Dolphins with Tua, once again, I think we're like 8-4, 8-5. They finished 8-9. If Tua stays healthy, there's a 0% chance they fall behind both of those teams. If you want to say the Patriots, they're doing things the right way. They got a good head coach again. They're drafting the positions they need. They got Stephon Diggs. They've got another running back to be a two-headed monster. Drake May's going to take the next step. Okay, I don't necessarily buy it, but I understand the logic there. Where the hell do you see the hope for the Jets? It's a team that went 5-12 last year after having a better season with Zach Wilson the year before. Yes, Aaron Rodgers is gone, but is Justin Fields the answer? Really? No, he's not. They have one wide receiver, Garrett Wilson, and he's one of the most overrated players in the league because he's been force-fed targets ad nauseum his entire career because they've had one receiver outside the little bit of time they had Devontae Adams last year. Now, again, the Bills, they're going to win the division. I'm not even saying the Dolphins are going to be a playoff team, but who the hell is saying the Dolphins are going to finish with fewer wins than a team that finished 5-12 or 4-13 last year and didn't make drastic improvements? I don't understand the logic there. I know the Dolphins defense is going to be brutal. I'm not saying it's going to be a good year, but I don't understand the doom and gloom around this team. Like, oh yeah, they were 8-9 last year and they were lucky to be there. It's like, no, they were lucky to or unfortunate not to be better. They lost to the Titans when Tua was out. Where's the other? I gotta find who they lost to because they had 2 games where they lost to that they should never have lost to. And if they wouldn't have lost those games, they would have been just fine. Of course, it's going to go to the 2025 schedule, isn't it? Yeah, it is. Oh, the Colts were the other one that they lost to with Anthony Richardson.
AR-15.
Yeah. So you lose to the Titans and the Colts because your starting quarterback is out and you can't do anything offensively, and you're expecting them to be worse. If you were predicting a Tua brain injury again, that's fair. Just come out and say it. Mashed potato brain 2 is going to happen again. The Dolphins aren't going to have a backup, even though I think Zach Wilson is better than what we've had, which is just gross to say. But that's the only argument I think you can have for them finishing 4th in that division. I just think the offense is too good. The defense, yeah, they're going to be weak in the secondary, but their offense or the defensive line, linebackers going to be pretty good. And I think Minkah Fitzpatrick's going to be solid back there. It's not going to be as bad as people expect. I don't understand when you give them the Saints treatment, essentially. It's like, yeah, they have no hope. It's like, there are people like, oh, Tyreek's going to be traded halfway through the season because their team's going to be so bad. Really?
Well, considering all the off-field drama you always have surrounding Tyreek, either there's some kind of incident or Tyreek is mouthing off.
I'm fine with trading him, but it's not going to be because the team is like 2-6.
I think the whole doom and gloom comes from, and I know you won't want to hear this as a Dolphins fan, but from 2 main basic things, and I know it's the thing that drives every Dolphins fan absolutely freaking crazy, but it's they have to win on the road and they have to win against good teams. And when they start doing that, and I know defense is definitely always a definite thing with the Dolphins, or lack thereof. But until they can do those things, until they can literally shut everybody up, okay, hey, and point the finger to, hey, look who we beat. And the other thing is the health of Tua, because that's where the entire team tends to ride around, and Tua is the center of gravity for the Dolphins. And if he is not out there behind center, we've seen what happens. And I think that's where the doom and gloom comes from. Everything is Tua as the center of gravity for the team, and Dolphins need to get better on the road, and they need to get better against winning teams. And when they can do that, and they can shut everyone the bleep up, then I think you'll see some of the doom and gloom be
But their schedule
dispelled.
doesn't have a lot of winning teams on it. Here's the opening stretch of the season, the first 5 games. At the Colts, home for New England, at Buffalo, home for the Jets, at Carolina. That's your first 5.
What do you
So
think?
let's say
What do you think their schedule? What do you think the record's going to be after those 5?
4-1. You're getting the 2 weaker division opponents while they're trying to figure things out at home. Carolina, I don't think is going to be any good. Indianapolis is going to be starting Anthony Richardson or Daniel Jones. So I don't really think that's anything to be worried about there. And at Buffalo, I expect us to get destroyed because that's what we do. After that, Chargers, Browns, Falcons. You're beating the Browns. So that's 5-3 halfway through the season.
The Chargers and the Falcons will be the ones that will be the litmus test, I think.
But according to what I'm just saying, that's at worst 5-3. The next 3 games, Baltimore, Buffalo, Washington. All right, you got me on that. Then you come back from the bye week, New Orleans.
That's going to be the gauntlet.
That's going to be the gauntlet for sure. If you get one of those, all at home at least, all at home, which is a good thing. But after the bye week in week 12, home for New Orleans, at the Jets, at the Steelers, Cincinnati, Tampa Bay, at New England. I just don't see. Do you see this team being a 5 or 6, last in the division is going to be 5 or 6 wins? Did that schedule say 5 or 6 wins for just the offensive side of the ball?
Everything is going to depend on Tua's health. I hate.
If he gets hurt, then again, if you're making the argument, I'm predicting a Tua Tagovailoa head injury, he's going to miss half the season. They're going to be last place. I'm not arguing with you because that is the way it happened. But I've seen people like, well, the defense is going to take a step back, and Mike McDaniel's on the hot seat in this offense. Tyreek Hill took a step back. It's like, yeah, he was playing with an injured wrist after getting slammed on the pavement by a cop who went rogue and shouldn't have done what he did. He couldn't have done as much as he wanted to. He's already looking better in training camp from all reports, which doesn't mean anything this time of year. But it's one of those, like, I just don't see the last place argument. And maybe it's because I'm a Dolphins fan. Maybe. But the last place 5-12 style season, unless Tua gets hurt early and severely, I just don't see happening.
Yeah, because when you're looking at those teams, which is probably the worst defense early for them to have to face when it comes to pass rushing and pass pressuring?
Probably. Honestly, I don't know if there's a team that I'm worried about in those first 5 with the pass rush. Probably the Bills because they're just a good team. But even then, their pass rush isn't like elite. Yeah, you'll probably have Milano back, and if Bosa does what he's supposed to, which he hasn't done in years, maybe that's fine. But I don't worry about the Patriots. I don't worry about the Jets. I don't worry about the Colts on the front 7. I'm not really worried about the Panthers in the front. Like, who's going to take him out? It's going to be Buffalo. It's always Buffalo. I mean, DeMar Hamlin got him the first time he had the back concussion. It was actually in a Buffalo game. Then he got hurt again in Cincinnati on Halloween on national television, but the actual concussion was before. So it'll be Buffalo in week 3 if it's going to happen. I just don't see the argument for it. But that could just be me. I could be crazy. I have 2 Dolphins helmets up there after all. And we didn't even have to talk about the Redskins name thing.
Yeah, because it's like, I think they should go back to it, but
I think it's one of those things where if the people that are offended by it are of the same complexion that I am, their voices shouldn't matter on that topic. If the people who are referenced by that name, the natives, are like, yeah, we helped pick it because that's what happened. They helped pick it back in the day. They partnered with the team and said, we want it named after Chief Roachkin or whatever. Well, I don't remember the exact story, but I know that the natives had a say in it. They were like, yeah, let's just do that. If they're fine with it, it's a better name than Commanders. Now, if they don't want it, you don't go up to the Special Olympics with an R word on the sign. Like you have to know your audience. There are some things you don't do. If they're not offended by it, then you're fine. But whatever. Let's make it a big deal. Or just pick a name that's not crappy. That's not Commanders. There are better names. Red Tails. Go after the Tuskegee Airmen Red Tails style.
Which was also a very good movie.
Very good movie. Very good background. It's got the military history. It could use. I mean, it's pro a certain race of people as well. If you don't know what the Tuskegee Airmen are, just Google it. I'm not going through a history lesson right now. And the Red Tails, like, it could be a bird. It could be the plane. It could be something like,
Coming soon. Coming soon. History with Ryan podcast.
Don't tempt me. Because stuff like that I would like to do. One of my favorite channels is called The Fat Electrician on YouTube. And he talks about military history and like pinpoints certain unsung heroes in military, and then goes on like random case studies of businesses as well.
Yeah, there's like a person I watch on Twitch named Statsbloke who has a friend whose name is Killerbin, who now actually literally works for the World of Warships game as a community manager. And Killerbin's literal degree is history, and his one of his favorite things that he always likes to talk about that you can just like ask him a question and he comes up with like a history of this ship or that ship, and he has literally everything memorized in there, and it's just like you're just like, how the hell do you remember all that? And you can just tell how passionate about it he is. It's just like you bring up something here or there, and he'll just bring up this story or that story, and you're just like, I never knew that.
Yeah. Fun fact: World of Warships one time had Commanders voiced by the Fat Electrician and one of his other podcast buddies. So full circle. Anyways, before we start going down that rabbit hole,
speaking of when you're wondering when the spiral would happen,
yeah, we hit final thoughts at 36 minutes. It's now at 52. So we definitely didn't ramble about things.
It's like you hit you're like when you're going through Star Trek and you hit this time displacement. It's like, what year is it?
Yeah, that's how we do. I mean, it is the off season. We will have more structure when games are going on. Injuries are happening right now. The biggest story is Terry McLaurin didn't report to camp.
What is this structure you speak of?
I don't know. We try. We had notes for this. We didn't do anything on the notes. We actually had notes.
Oh no, not those kind of
notes. But we did have notes for this episode, and then it just became, we're just going to talk about what we want, and we're going to hope it doesn't suck. And as we get closer to the season, we'll have our picks again. We'll have our little contest. I have to find out where I'm putting my board. It's probably going to go over there, but I don't know yet. And even then, it's not really in screen, so who knows? But we will have recaps, we'll have picks, and it'll be all structured. But this time of year is like, there's nothing really to talk about. But we haven't done one of these in a while. We got to get back into the swing of things, so we don't get to September and be like, what is this? This is a microphone? I don't know what to do with that.
Yeah, I mean, we are not having any AB news.
Oh, we're not going to bring it up now. Anyways, that's our time. I am Flying Ryan Gokers along with
Tampa Motormouth Joel Verlin.
And we'll be back at some point in the next couple weeks, I'm sure, to start talking about actual football predictions for the season. Maybe even do a couple mock drafts. Of course, we will have our draft week shenanigans at some point down the line, and it'll be fun. We'll get started here very, very soon. Football less than, I think, 40 or so days away, 45 maybe.
help distract from the insanity going on everywhere else.
Yeah, we don't have enough time to talk about that. So with that, we gone.